Hello, hi Joey.
Everyone, hey Johan, let me start video. So we're starting in a few minutes. So we're expecting around 100 participants right now. So for the others, just make sure that you set the mic on mute. Let me check. Wait a few more minutes before we start then. So first things first, does everybody have access to the chat already or not yet? Or do you know? You can ask your questions there. So far, we're at 30 participants. Let's wait a bit more. By the way, for the names, you may want to rename your name so that we can recognize you later on. We'll be raffling off a certification voucher courtesy of Johan from Singapore Dreamin'. So just to make sure that we can recognize you. Yan. Hi, Neil. Hi, Neil.
Hi everyone. Hi Johan.
Hi Neil.
How are
Nice
you?
background. I'm good.
So let us all congratulate our first and new Philippines MVP. So it's Neil. For your information, kasi was just recently considered awarded as Salesforce MVP, the first one in the Philippines.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So far, let me just check. We're at 46 participants. I think we should be able to start in a bit then. Yep.
7:30.
It's already 7:32. So let's see. Anything that you want to show first, Neil? to share? Any updates to share for the group?
Nothing much. I think, but for the group, I think we will have this regular session. We will try to do it like once a month. Not actually once a month for the admin group, but most probably if we also have a B2C group and developers group. So I think they are also interested in conducting similar type of event. So probably expect like 3 virtual events from the community every month. So we will invite people not just from the Philippines, but also experts from other countries to discuss Salesforce topics. So yeah, keep uh, just just visit our group, our LinkedIn pages to receive the updates. We will also send you an email update, of course.
One thing I wanted to share to the group is I'm sure quite a lot of people have a lot of experiences here in Salesforce, right? Does everyone know of or have heard of Pluralsight? I'll share it anyway. This is something on the side. Pluralsight currently has a free month for the whole month. Normally, this is actually worth around $29 per month if you were to subscribe. But they have quite a lot of content here that's very valuable for your careers, though. So things like, for example, within 2 to 3 hours, you'd have an idea of what CPU is and what are the different capabilities. There's this play-by-play series by Don Robbins. For those that are interested in learning more about development using Apex, David Liu, one of the Salesforce MVPs in the US, he's working for Google. He actually has this Apex Academy. So most of the people here that's into Salesforce development already know David Liu, since he has quite a lot of blog posts about it, right? So just wanted to make sure that you're all aware of that, and definitely take advantage of this, since it doesn't happen a lot that they're actually providing all of their content for free for the whole month. All right, it's already 7:35, and I think we can start now then. So we have 52 participants. So let me just quickly introduce our speaker for tonight. So we have, is it Johan or Johan? Hello?
It's fine for both.
Yeah, all right. So it's Johan Yu. So he's Singapore's first Salesforce MVP, and he has been an MVP from 2014 until today. He's also an author of 3 published books. First one being the Getting Started with Salesforce.
Sorry? You're sharing your Slack.
Yep. All right. Let's see. All right. So first one is Getting Started with Salesforce Einstein Analytics. Second one is Beginner's Guide to Building Interactive Dashboards. And then the third one is Salesforce Lightning Reporting and Dashboards. So can they give it away, Johan?
Okay, thanks, Joy. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you guys see my screen okay?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. Do you see the slide or the preview?
The preview. Yeah,
swipe. How about this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Joy and Noel. And hi, everyone. My name is Johan. As Joy mentioned earlier, I have been working in Salesforce ecosystem for more than 15 years. 8 years as a Singapore user groups leaders, 7 years Salesforce MVP, more than 10 certification, 250 badges. I authored 3 books, and I have a blog called Simply SFDC. And one more thing I not put here, I know Joy for last 10 years. But I just met him like 2 months ago or 3 months ago in Singapore.
Yeah, in Singapore.
Okay, so tonight I will share a bit from Einstein Analytics, which is another Salesforce products. I have been using Einstein Analytics for the last 2 years. Like 50% of my daily jobs now, I am working on Einstein Analytics. And I'm also analytic champions. So Salesforce have this Einstein champion, analytic champion, marketing champions. Yeah. Okay, so next, forward-looking statement. So I don't work for Salesforce. If you see someone with title Salesforce MVP, they are not Salesforce employee. So this sharing is from my personal experience and my own opinions. It doesn't relate to my employer as well. If you want to get the products or interested with the products or for demo, please reach out to your account managers, Salesforce account managers, to be clear. Okay, before I start, just to share that this is my latest book. My third book is available in Amazon or in Apple. I can't remember if they still have promotions, but they have promotion like a few months back. So this is the books I wrote just as a starter. If you are interested to learn Einstein Analytics step by steps. Next, what is our agenda? What is Einstein Analytics? Basic, architecture, live demo, Q&A. But before we start to Q&A, feel free to type your question in the chat window. I will check every 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, let me see. I'm opening chat window. Yeah, cool. Nice. Okay, so first thing, Einstein Analytics. I believe that many of you have seen this before, maybe, but maybe you're confused with other Einsteins. Before I start, then I would like to have a quick poll. Can you guys scan this QR code or do a one questions poll? I give you guys 1 minute. Okay. I saw a couple people has poll. It's only one questions. It's very fast. Oh, a few of you know Einstein Analytics. Some is new, totally new in Salesforce environment. Okay, 20, okay, 40% using Salesforce is daily. Okay. Okay, but looks like almost half of you know Einstein Analytics. And half have no Einstein Analytics experience.
Take note, I also posted the link in the chat window.
Thanks. Sorry. Okay, 50%, more than 50% you know Salesforce, but not Einstein Analytics.
So far, 40 respondents.
Okay, we have 40 people have poll, 43 people. Maybe I wait for 15 more seconds. Okay, let me just share with you what I see in this screen. 50% using Salesforce but no Einstein Analytics. 15%, 1/5 have no Salesforce experience. 32% no Einstein Analytics beginner, and 2% is expert. Okay, and 2% is certified. So for those of you who certified or expert, feel free to comment or jump in if you want to put some comment. It's fine. Okay, let me continue. I will end this poll. At least I know that more than 50% of you know Salesforce, but no Einstein Analytics. I will start from the beginner and I will jump a bit to more advanced. I'll stop the poll now. First thing, get the term right. Why I will say this? Because Einstein has been used by Salesforce. Einstein terms has been used by Salesforce in the last 2 years tremendously everywhere, almost everywhere. Right. So when someone say Salesforce Einstein, need to be clear. What Einstein you guys talking about? It's like Einstein prediction builder, Einstein next best actions, Einstein search, or Einstein's bot. There's so many. So last year I tried to find how many Einsteins. This is not complete list, but it's like more than 25, or now it's like even more than 30. Some of them is free, some of them is paid. Right? It's not all free, it's not all paid. And tonight we are just discuss about Einstein Analytics. We are not talking about any others Einsteins. Okay. So this is the basic. So what is Einstein Analytics? In the past, it called as Wave or Analytics Cloud before Salesforce renamed this as a Einstein Analytics. I think that for the last 3 years, it has been called Einstein Analytics, if I'm not wrong. 3 years or more than 3 years. Okay. So what is Einstein Analytics? This is my definitions. This is not from Salesforce. This is my definition from my experience working with Einstein Analytics. I just randomly put these words everywhere. Like there's a mobile apps. So you know Salesforce have a Salesforce mobile apps. Einstein Analytics have its own apps called Analytics apps in the iOS and also available in the Android. And it is same with Salesforce. It is on the cloud. You don't need to have your hardware. It can handle big data, like 100 millions of data in one object, which is in Salesforce is quite hard to handle kind of big data. It can use for the trending. It integrates well with Salesforce. I will share more what this means integrate with Salesforce. I mean, it's Salesforce platform, not the company. Integrate well with Salesforce platform. It supports external data. External data mean data not from Salesforce platform. Let's say from Amazon or from CSV file even, or from Marketo, Google. It is a platform by itself, and it have a kind of template for the when to help you to build the dashboard or to build the apps. I will share a bit on that later. And it's good for the data explorations, like your analysts like to do data slicing to find some issues or what on your business. It's a tools to have that. It's if you're using Salesforce report, it's quite difficult. Okay. If you guys have any question, feel free to put in the chat box. Okay. And next, I said earlier, it can handle millions of rows used for data analysis. You can build complex dashboard, which means that Salesforce standard dashboard can handle. It supports multiple object relationships. If I'm not wrong, in Salesforce reporting, report type is only support 4 objects: parent, child, grandchild, grandchild. It has a much better performance in showing the data and slicing the data. So if any of you using Salesforce event monitoring product, event monitoring doesn't come with the UI. So Instant Analytics is a good product to display this event monitoring data. Next, let's compare. Right. As said earlier, Einstein Analytics supports Salesforce data and external data. It supports unlimited relationships as long as you can draw the linkage between one object and other object, you can build that relationships in Einstein Analytics. It supports millions of rows. Okay, the data in Einstein Analytics is not real time, just to be clear. It is a schedule. You can have as the minimum is 15 minutes for the schedule, every schedule to get the data from Salesforce and post to Einstein Analytics. Okay, you know that Salesforce report is a real time, so this is not real time. Just to be clear, it support the bigger data, big data, but Salesforce report is for more operational data. The mobile app is called Analytics. You can load the data manually or using API. Okay. So this is mostly the difference between Einstein Analytics and Report Dashboard. Or one more thing I not put here, Report Dashboard is come with the Salesforce platform, but Einstein Analytics is additional product, which means you need to purchase. There's a few types of Einstein Analytics licensings. Next. So type of users, there are three types of users. One is Salesforce admin. The second is the Einstein Analytics admin or the super users or dashboard builder. The third is the standard users, the end users. The first and the second can be the same persons or also can be different persons. Some of the Salesforce admin also is a dashboard builder because Salesforce admin know the object better. Let's say you have your custom object, you have your custom fields, how the object link. It is a bit easier for admin to learn this, but in some company, they have the specific person who built dashboard without, it's not Salesforce admin. It depends of your company and how big your company and how many admin in the company, right? But Einstein Analytics admin need a Salesforce admin. Why? Because the permissions for Einstein Analytics and for the users is defined in Salesforce user detail as a permission sets. So every users need to access the dashboard, need to have license. And the license between admin and the standard users is the same. It's only the permission set is different. As you know, with Salesforce permission set is kind of similar. You can have your own custom permission set. You can have like standard permission set. You can modify, you can clone from the original permission set for your users. Okay, so before I go further, any questions? Not yet? Okay, let me share more on the basics. In the basics, there are three things in the Einstein Analytics. Sorry, four. Apps, dataset, dashboard, lens. Apps is something, if we compare to Salesforce platform, apps is something similar to the folders, dashboard folders, report folders. But apps in Einstein Analytics can contain not just report or dashboard, it can contain dataset, dashboard, and lens or story. And the similar with Salesforce reporting is Einstein Analytics apps control the visibility and accessibility of the users. Whether the users have the edit permissions or just few permission is controlled in the apps. Dataset is similar to the object in Salesforce, but dataset can contain multiple objects that pull from Salesforce into a data set. Dashboard is a dashboard. Lens is kind of similar with the reports, but the difference with the Salesforce is you can build dashboard without lens. So the dashboard is directly accessing dataset. It's different with Salesforce. Dashboard is depend on the reports, but Einstein Analytics is different. Okay, let me just do a quick demo. I am logged into my, okay, so this is standard Salesforce platform, right? This is my developer org. I click these 9 dots, you see Analytics Studio. So not all developer org have these apps. It's only you register from a specific URL. I will share the URL later. When I click that URL, now I landed to Einstein Analytics homepage. Right? And you see here, I can create apps, dashboard, story, and dataset. This is my recent dashboard, my favorites, what share with me, and what I create. And let me go to all items here. Okay. And here, as I said earlier, apps, dashboard, lens, and dataset. Story is more on the instant discovery. I will not talk on this call, it's this meetup. So if I click dashboard, this will show my existing dashboard. And this dashboard will tell you which app it stay. Right? So let's say my private app. So this demo test, no one can see because it's my private. And my DTC says this is like a folders. So whoever have access to my DTC sales can access everything inside my DTC sales, include the dashboard or dataset or lens. If I go to lens, this is lens, and dataset. This is the data that you pull from Salesforce or you export from CSV file or you pull from others external resources and the database like Google or Amazon or even Microsoft Dynamics. Okay. Any questions? I see what is the different type of license in Einstein and just to be clear, what is the different type of Einstein Analytics license and features? To make easier, you can just do a Google search, Einstein Analytics license. License. Is this one? Not this one. License cost. I think I saw somewhere earlier. License.
I think it's the first one there.
First one? Oh.
No, the second one.
Sorry. Okay. Oops. Too fast. Give me 1 minute. Sorry. Go back. Yeah, it's just a Google search. There's nothing. Good. Okay, I found it now. Instant analytics pricing. So there are 3 types of licensing available right now: predictions, analytic growth, and analytics plus. To use instant analytics, at least you need to use the analytic growth. And plus is include the discoveries. I'm mostly in my job, I'm using both. My company, we purchase plus and growth. Right. The difference you can see here, the first one, predictions, is only for instant prediction builder, which is not about dashboard or analytics. It's just about predictions. The difference between analytic growth and analytic plus, you can see here, plus support prediction builder, it support discovery and data insight. Right. But one more important thing is if you have instant Analytics plus Salesforce give you 10 billion rows. Okay. The storage in Einstein Analytics is based on number of rows. It's not based on the gigabyte or terabyte. It's number of rows. When you purchase one license, they give you like, I can't remember, like I don't know, like 10 million rows for one license, just for sample. I don't know the exact numbers. But if you buy Einstein Analytics Plus, they give you 10 billion rows, which should be more than enough for your whole org. Okay, back. So again, no questions so far? If not, then I will continue.
None so far.
Okay, I need to, how to swipe again. Question, no question. Okay. Platform. Earlier, I mentioned that Einstein Analytics platform is not really inside Salesforce. They maybe sit in the same server in the same data center, but they are different platform actually. Right? That's why you can't do your real-time dashboard. You only do the schedule. Schedule means Einstein Analytics pulling data from Salesforce. I said earlier is integrate well because the data you can see the data, you can see the Salesforce object fields in Einstein Analytics. Mostly all fields of Salesforce object you can see in Einstein Analytics. I said mostly, not all. Okay, the first one, the data, you can pull the data, report. Even the report, you can do the trending from Salesforce reporting to Einstein Analytics. Layout mean that you can put Einstein Analytics dashboard in Salesforce Lightning page, right? And security here, you can inherit some of the security defined in Salesforce. Okay, number two I mentioned here is you're able to access most of Salesforce objects. What most here mean is like, I don't know, 90% or 95%. All the standard object, opportunity, account, contact, campaign, lead, campaign members, all supported. All custom object supported. What is not supported? They are like, I don't know, 20 or 30 kind of the system objects like content, version, something. I can't really remember. There is a list. You can just Google search like Einstein Analytics supported object or unsupported objects. So there are some object is not supported in Einstein Analytics. And number three, Einstein Analytics able to set limited Salesforce sharing inheritance, meaning that let's say we have an object private in Salesforce. That means that that records is not visible to everyone. If we want to replicate the same from Salesforce to Einstein Analytics, there are some limitations. Okay. One of the solution is using sharing inheritance, which I mentioned here, sharing inheritance. But sharing inheritance is only support major objects like account, opportunity, contact, lead, and campaign. It's only 5 objects. Or case, it's 5 case object, 5 objects. And sharing inheritance is limit to 3,000 records, which is kind of difficult, 3,000 records in objects, in non-objects. That's why you need to build your own security in Einstein Analytics. Usually, I will build my own security. If let's say my opportunity is not visible to everyone, then I will use profiles. I will use let's say opportunity shared objects to make the visibility in the security predicate. There's something called security predicate in Einstein Analytics. So that's all the limitations. Next, I will share a bit about the architecture. So at the left, this Salesforce objects, most of you are aware. Einstein Analytics need to pull the data from Salesforce to dataset. And then I mentioned here chain is like one data flow can have multiple chain. So let's say the first chain is like I want to pull opportunity pipeline. The second chain I'm using for campaign members. It can be no relation at all between these chains, but we can pull them together as a one data flow. Why we do this? Can I put the second chain as a different data flow? Yes, you can. But there is a limit of 30 data flow per org. Right? If you have too much data flow, is also sometimes difficult to maintain. So use your best judgment whether you want to combine in a data flow or you want to spread. Usually I base on the projects. Sometimes one project can have like more than one dashboard, and then you just based on that project pull on together in the data flow. And there is limitation of 60 run in 24 hours. So that's another limitation on data flow. Dataset is the result of data flow. Right. So if a data flow doesn't produce dataset, the data flow is useless. It's just wasting time, wasting resources. So it need to produce a dataset or multiple dataset. One chain can produce multiple dataset. Okay. And one dashboard can use one dataset or can use multiple dataset. Okay. This is the first type of architecture. So that's mean every time the data flow run, it will pull data from Salesforce. You need to design the data flow wisely, such as not pulling from the same object multiple times. A data flow can, once data flow run, it can take 10 minutes or 1 hour. It depends on how complicated and how big is your data. Right? So I just sharing, I have one experience. I have one dashboard built by a consultant years back. And after I take over the data flow, the Einstein Analytics, I reduce from 45 minutes to 15 minutes the data flow run. Because consultant, they don't really care. I mean, external consultant, they just go in and build and they left the company. So every time run, it takes so long. So I optimize that data flow to like only 15 minutes instead of 45 minutes. The second architecture is enable sync. This yellow box I put here is a sync. I think currently, if you just purchase Einstein Analytics in last 6 months, I think sync is enabled by default. Right. So what sync means is like you pulling the data from Salesforce to a temporary database in Einstein Analytics, object by object. And when your data flow run, it's just pull the data from the sync objects. The benefit is the data flow will run much faster. Like, let's say I have 45 minutes data flow. With sync, it's maybe just take like less than 10 minutes because it doesn't travel to Salesforce to pull the data. It's just everything is within Einstein Analytics. Right. But the things like if you are using sync model, you will not get the latest data when you pull the data flow. The data is based on when this sync happened. You can schedule the sync run multiple times a day, yeah, and data flow run based on the latest data in the sync storage. The good news is the rows in the sync is not count as a usage in Einstein Analytics. So let's say you have 10, 1 billion rows, and then you have like 400 million rows in sync. It doesn't count as your Einstein Analytics usage. So this is one of the benefit, and the performance data flow is much faster. But the less benefit you will not get the latest data from Salesforce if you're using Sync. Everyone here good? Any questions? No?
We do have a
Um,
few questions.
Let me see the chat
So,
window. Okay.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
okay, there is a few questions. Okay, I start from Pamela. You mentioned your company using both Einstein Plus. Can you share how you identify the users of each license? Okay, the first question is about the how to identify the license type. It's based on the permission sets. So your permission sets you can mention this is for Einstein Analytics Plus or Growth. That's how you identify, right? And not everyone need to have plus permission sets. And what license do we need for Einstein? So external users can access dashboard via community. Okay, this is another good question. As I mentioned the first time, every users need to have license to access dashboard in Einstein Analytics. But for external users, so when this is like community cloud, yes, there is a different type of license. You can check with the Salesforce AE, which is much cheaper than internal license. But they are only able to use for the community cloud. Without integration with Salesforce, can Einstein still be work? Yes, you can still use Einstein Analytics if you are not using Salesforce, but but I can say the big points, the big benefit to use Einstein Analytics if you're using Salesforce. If you're not using Salesforce, I think you'll better using other tools like Tableau probably, right? Because Einstein Analytics is integrated well to Salesforce. And you need to have, okay, one more thing. You need to have Salesforce license to access Einstein Analytics. It can be Sales Cloud or even platform license. So you need to have license, Salesforce license to access Einstein Analytics or community cloud license. What type, without integration, okay. What type of fields are not available on EA? What type of fields? It's not type of field, it's the objects. It's an object, it's not the fields. All the fields in your Salesforce object available in Einstein Analytics. It's just like 20 to 30 object. It's a system object. As I said earlier, like content versions, content document link, or some other fields. You just do a Google search, you can find that objects. Salesforce lists down that objects.
Question on that. How about things like encrypted fields? So, are we able to pull that over?
I have no idea.
I see. No worries.
Okay, I'm not using encrypted field. Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry. Yeah. What the difference between data flow and data set? Okay, I think I mentioned the data set is the data used for the dashboard. Data flow is the flow, the engine to get the data from Salesforce or from external party system like Google or Microsoft to a data set. So data set is that the database. Data flow is that the engine. Okay, and Joy share the link, and am I correct to order for us to read data set dashboard to establish first data flow? In most situations, we need to get the data from data flow as a data set in most situations. But we also can have situation like you have a fixed Excel file, like say, I don't know, target of sales rep, which is not maintained in Salesforce, let's say, right? So you can put this target, or maybe just regional target or country target or whatever target, which is not maintained in Salesforce. You can load this data directly from CSV file to Einstein Analytics. But in most cases, it will flow from data flow for CITA questions. Oh, sorry, for URA questions. And Does it mean that if we do have sync on, we no longer have to trend report to be able to create report on EA? No, we still can, because trend is directly go from Salesforce reporting to a data flow. Trend is not via normal data flow. To set trending is directly from Salesforce. So if you have the license, you have the permissions, you will see a trend button in your reports. Do you recommend Einstein Analytics recipe? It depends on your usage. If all your data is in Einstein Analytics, you can use recipe. For my experience, I hardly use recipe. One of the things I pull data from everywhere, and I prefer data flow because you can backup the JSON easier. And of course, there's some limitation of data flow, but for my case, I still prefer data flow than recipe. And recipe, you use a lot of storage. Let's say you don't have the plus license. So let's say I have recipe dataset A 100 million, dataset B 200 million. The recipe may have the result may have 300 million rows. So instead of 300 million rows, you occupy 600 million rows because of the recipe. So a lot of storage wasted using recipe, unless the recipe is very slow, very small. What language is used to pull data from Salesforce? It is not language. It is a data flow. I will show you earlier. It is data flow. It's not language. It's not coding. There's some scripting, simple scripting, like case, like formula field kind of things, but it's not coding. Right? It's not API even. It's a special data flow pool. I think I will show you more later on this one. I will just continue now. So I have some explanation further here. Right? Let me just make this one easier. So one dashboard must use at least one dataset. One dashboard must at least one dataset. One data flow can contain multiple chain. One data flow can have multiple chain. One chain must create at least one dataset. Of course, you can have no dataset produced, but it is useless. Why you do all the data transformation without result, right? One chain can get data from one object or from multiple objects. Like this sample, like multiple objects. The best practice, do not read the same object multiple times. Let's say I have one chain, I read from account for prospect, I read again account for customer, I read again. Keep reading is slow down the performance. Do not write the data set from different chain or different data flow. This is like confusing ourselves. So I say I have data set 1 produced by chain number 2. Chain number 2. I have dataset 1 also overwritten by other data flow. It's hard for you to debug. So this, what is the cause? So this dataset is from which data flow? Salesforce will not stop you doing that, but it is not a good practice. And each nodes in the data flow should have the unique name. And then try to implement the standard naming conventions. So this is help you to know that what is the purpose of the nodes? Let's say chain 1, what is the purpose for every node? This is help ourselves. Of course, Salesforce will not stop you. You want to put ABC. This is like your Apex programming or your Federation rules, whatever. Just put the better convention names to help yourself or help your team. Right? If you enable sync, because there's limit of the rows, and if you enable sync, this is not count. The yellow box is not count, and the sync data is not count. When you buy Einstein Analytics license, they give you a number of rows by based on number of license, right? And not all field. Okay, number 3 is like, let's say my accounts I have like 100 fields, but in the Einstein Analytics I only use like 10 fields. Only 10 fields will be synced. So the Sing engine is smart enough to know what fields need to be pulled from Salesforce. So one thing here, just to add, if you enable Sing in your get data nodes, do not enter filter. Right? That's because I say I have one object in the data flow, just say just nodes. Just prospect. And another one, get customer. If you put the filters on the get nodes as FTC digest, the Sing will be wrong because the Sing is also confused. Should I just get a prospect or should I just get customer? The best is don't put any filters and add another nodes to filters. So don't put filters in the SFTC digest. And number 4, if you want to retrieve data from external source, Sing must be enabled because Salesforce cannot, Einstein Analytics cannot directly pull data from external systems without Sing. External system here can mean another Salesforce org. Let's say if you use multiple org, you can use Sing to retrieve data from different Salesforce org. And the last one here, there's a 24 hours only limited to 60 run. Okay, but this 60 run is not include a simple data flow which is run less than 2 minutes. I have one question from Gayan, say, if we have multiple data set in one Einstein dashboard, can we combine data set build a field? Yes, you can use multiple data set to build a dashboard. If you want to build a widget is a widget of the dashboard, you also can use multiple data set. But mostly you will go to the SAQL route, which is more complicated. So for me personally, I try to put everything in one data set whenever possible. But if not possible, we have to split to multiple data set. So let's say one data set as the sales of the close won opportunity. Another data set is, let's say, forecast item, which is quota for the sales rep. That cannot be combined as a one data set. It needs to be 2 data set for that case. Right. And always backup the data flow. You can backup with just click a button to download, or you can use tools to backup. Okay, continue. Dataset. So dataset is like the objects in Salesforce. It's like a custom objects, right, in Salesforce. But there's only 3 types of fields. In Salesforce, I think more than 10. Text, numbers, percentage, long text area, rich text area, formula fields. In Analytics, it's only 3. Dimensions, measures, and dates. Dimension is text, measures is numbers, dates is date time. And by default, Einstein Analytics will split the dates to year, quarter, month, week, day, hour, minute, second. That's how the systems, the fields we will have in Einstein Analytics. Same with Salesforce, you have label of the field, you can have an API name. You can relabel the API name stay. Okay. Here I put here relabel. So let's say, so even let's say in Salesforce we call this field as a account name. In Analytics we can call it as a customer name. So there's no depend on the Salesforce at all. Edit values here mean that, let's say in Salesforce we put as a US, but we want to have United States of America in Einstein Analytics, we can do the mapping in the dataset directly without touching Salesforce, without touching data flow. We just do in the dataset. We can set the color. We can format numbers. Let's say this is like currency or percentage, decimal point. Or we can hide. Maybe you pull the data for some calculations, but you don't want your users to see that fields from the dashboard or from the lens. You can hide that fields. And my last tip to always backup the XMD, which is the configuration of the data sets. Okay. Next, so this is the data flow, right? So data flow is this. I just take screenshot from Salesforce app, I think. You get the data from opportunity account, you do transformation, and you register the data as a data set. This is as a data set. This is sample of data flow, which is quite confusing, right? I mean, you don't need to see this, just to show you that in this data flow, I have 3 chains. This is the first chain, the big chain. I have another smaller chain here. I have a smallest chain, which only 2 nodes. 2 nodes, this one may be like 10 nodes, this one another at 50 nodes. Okay? It is hard to see. I will show you a tips how to make it easier. So this one is easier to see, right? So there is a tools, it's a Google Chrome plugin developed by one of our community. I think his name is Matthew, based in Australia. So every time you open your Einstein Analytics, it's easier for you to see. So this and this one, it is the same data flow, but I prefer to see this one easier for me. At a glance, I can see how many data set. So this all the red at the end is the data set creation. 1, 2, 3, 4 data set for this chain. In a glance, I know. And all the green here is the data I pull from Salesforce. Right. Next, I will have a demo, live demo to create data flow and dashboard. Okay. So far, no questions. I go back to my, so this is my Einstein Analytics. I go to my managers here, create data flow. Just say, you can put any name here, data flow name. I say Manila. But one thing in the naming of this, you can't rename once you create the data flow. So the option is you download, you create data flow, you download, you create new one, you upload your backup. So you have a new name, but you have to delete the old one. So you can't rename the data flow name. I create data flow. Question here, what is the DF visual call from Australia? Okay, is DF, it is a Chrome plugin. I can show you this slide. This is the, you go to Google search for EA Dashboard Helper. This will help you to save the layout and put the comment, have a nicer, colorful notes based on the type. Right. Search for EA Dashboard Helper. Okay. Okay. So I have this blank, totally blank data flow. I will just create a simple data flow. I say I want to get account. I select the object. From here, you can see all objects supported. Accounts, come on. And then I will see all the fields here. Let's say name. I want to get the billing country and maybe billing. Okay. State. Let's say employee, number of employee. These are all standard Salesforce fields. Right? Maybe that's enough for now. So this is the filter I mentioned earlier. If you use sync enable, don't put conditions here. Don't put filter here. Just leave it empty. If you use sync enable. If no, you can put the filters there. Okay. Okay, I have accounts. Now I want to get, let's say, opportunity. So I say get opportunity, search for the opportunity objects, and field, let's say, okay, I need account ID to link the objects. And then I put here amount, and then just say one is one, just for samples. I can take states. Same here. I can see the field I pull. So just pull the field that you need, right? Not pull everything. It's not the right way. And then I can easily combine these two. So I want to see opportunity and accounts. So my granular will be opportunity here, augment. So I usually I just put prefix. This is based on your preference. I put augment here, so I know it's augment. Opportunity to account. Left source, opportunity, key, account ID, account, right, get account, the ID. Oh, I need to have account ID. I miss, oh, sorry. Opportunity, account. Yeah, I miss account ID. I will come back that later. And then here, I will take everything here. I come back again here, I add ID. Okay, I have the ID, propagate. I back to the augment again, and then I will use this as ID as a key, remove the country, and look up one, look up single values. Okay, and to make it simple, I will just register. This is the one who create the dataset. Opportunity with account. The notes is from the augment. I just copy paste. You can put different. This is one is the API name, one is the label name. Right. Sharing source. This is we want to set the visibility based on account. From now, I just leave it empty. Okay, done. So this is my simple data flow. Right. I can update this one. Let me just run this. And I update. If no error, it's successful. If error, then it says something is error. I run this one. Go to the monitors. This will take like 1 minute probably or less. I have sync enable.
Just in case.
Okay, I have sync enable in this org. Let us leave it here for now. Okay, how do you figure out relationships? Can we use schema builder? You need, okay, you can use schema builder to see the relationships, but you need to rebuild again in here, in this data flow. You can't export and import from schema builder, unfortunately. You have to build again. That's why you just need to pull the fields that you need for the dashboard. Are we treating this metadata, and can we still use repository to commit data flow, data set, and dashboard? Do you mean that you use repository like GitHub like that? I know that we can backup all the metadata, but I do not know whether this can be automated. Probably there is a third-party tool for that to automate repository. I do not know. Usually I just backup like daily or few days, everything. If the sync is on, how soon the new data should reflect on Einstein? If the sync is on, after the sync running complete and the data flow running complete, it will show your dashboard will be updated. But the limitation, you need to refresh the dashboard. It will not be auto refresh the dashboard. That's the limitations. Same questions. What tools are you using to deploy these things? You can use change sets, or you can use and tools, depend what tools you want. So change set support data flow or dashboard. But I think some of the features like conditional formatting is not supported. Yeah, it's not 100% perfect, but mostly you can do in the change set or and tools. How can you tell if opportunity with account or account with opportunities? Okay, for this sample, I use opportunity is my baseline. So I will, this data flow will not show accounts without opportunity. But if you want to show all accounts even with opportunities, we need to change this augment, say get account. The left source should be account and the right should be opportunity if you want to use account as a baseline. So it depends your needs. Okay. Can we get the metadata and put in the repository? Yes, you can manually. I do not know how to make this automate. Not the data, but container. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The metadata, yes, you can. Not if, but if you ask me how to backup the data, usually I not backup the data. You can, even Einstein Analytics do not provide you tools to backup the data actually. Just to say. You can manually export to Excel file, but if your data like 100 millions, it may fail. So that's one of the limitations of the system. They do not provide you backup tools of the data. Okay. If you want to see the metadata of this data flow, I can just download this, click download JSON. I just put it's a Manila UG JSON. I download here. Let me just open quickly how it looks like. So this is the JSON for that data flow. Yeah. So you can backup that file manually to whatever you backup file, or you can use tools to backup metadata. But there's no, I do not know if any tools can backup data. I never heard about that actually. Right. But there's tool to backup metadata. One of them is this one I mentioned earlier, EA Dashboard Helpers. You can backup from here. Everything you want to backup, and then this will download a zip file. Okay. Does role hierarchy also apply in data flow? Roles hierarchy apply in data flow. Yes, you can pull user roles. User roles is an object in Salesforce. You can pull and you can use flatten nodes to determine the visibility of users based on role hierarchy. Okay, I will back to this dashboard now. So just now I create a data set. The name is opportunity with account, right? I go back to here. I refresh this. Okay, Manila UG successful. And here it will tell you the nodes you go to, how many rows. Now I go back to my homepage. I search for opportunity with account. This is the data set. It's 8:30. It's just like 5 minutes ago, right? This is the data set. We can just click this one and see. It will by default it will show you like how many rows. 700 rows. Fine, 700 rows. And then if we compare to here, 700 rows is the opportunity of this DE org. Just quickly build a simple dashboard based on this data set. Create dashboard, just go with blank, or you can use template. Template is just give you more things that you can build, like comparison, details. I hardly use this based on your requirements. So this is the blank canvas. To make it simple, I will just drag. This is the chart widget. Select the data set. Right, select data set. Let's say I want to have this sum of amount. Amount is our opportunity amount, right? And here I want to say by states, just for samples. I say done. I have one widget. That's all. Fast, right? And I want to have a filters. I can just use this list filters, one of the options. And then I will just put here country, account country. And make it nicer, I remove the billing and just put country. And just view. Now, if I select Australia, it's updated. Right? Let me add another chart. So this is the nice thing of Einstein Analytics. It's quite fast. You build things like from data set. Once you have data set with all the fields, it's quite easier actually. Right? Let us make a nicer, let's say using a map. So by default, there's a maps here. You can use, I just use the same things, amount, and then, sorry, locations, use country. Yeah, that's by default. And then I will say, I will change the map to Miller. That. So now if I view this dashboard, if I am the real users, I click, let's say I click Russia. So this widget automatically filtered based on what I click here. If I click Canada, here is also updated. It's fast. And then one more thing, just to make it clear, I can add a table so your users can see the raw data, the real data. Right? So I just click here and then just show you what I want to show. I want to show everything, fine, but maybe I don't want to show duplicate account ID. Remove one, and then maybe that's good for me. And I said short by, probably short by amount, descending. I want to see the highest numbers. Right. So I view here. Right. So now I click Australia. The data here is automatically filtered as Australia opportunity. You can't do this in Salesforce reporting for sure, right? And yeah, you can have like, I want to able to click this link, it's open Salesforce, or I want to click an account name, open Salesforce. You can do that easily in this dashboard. And then you can just make it look nicer. I want to change the themes here, nicer themes, right? And I want to put, let's say, a widget, have a nicer border, just for samples. You can do this, which you can't do in Salesforce dashboard. And then I can save here. I put in my private app, or I put in shared app. Shared app is everyone can access as long as the users have license. I say Manila test. Right. I save and done. And this one, if the user have license, they have access to the apps. You can just copy and paste, give to your users, and that's all. They can play around. And next, I want to have export the data. I click here, explore. Einstein Analytics make it difficult to export. A few clicks, share, and download. CSV file or Excel file. You can download from here. Or you can post to the feed, chatter feed. So the integration is integrated well with Salesforce. That's what I say. And you can, if you use Quip, you can export to Quip as well. I don't have Quip in here. Right. And any more questions? Let me see. Can we minimize the map to show only specific continent country, not the whole map? Okay, there is few things here. One here you can select. Okay, if I click the map widget, here is the world countries, Americas, North America, South Americas, or this is provided of Asia or South Asia. If you want to have your own map, you can build your own map. There is a Trailhead module for that. It's not super easy, yeah, but you can build your own map. Right. So let's say just now, if there's somewhere here you can do like auto zoom. Right? So if I enable auto zoom, I click a countries. Oh no, I should click something like Australia. It can auto zoom to your countries. Let's say I change this widget. Instead of sorting by states, let me do sorting by country. Right. And if I preview, I click Canada. Now it's auto zoom to the country you selected. Right. I also can do like multiple selections. So this is one selection. I can select multiple selections. So I can select multiple countries easily. Right? So we give this power to the users. I say, I want to see Canada, auto zoom to Canada, and then I auto zoom to Japan. So this Japan plus Canada, 2 countries. And this is the reset button, back to initial view, right? One more thing I want to share before I end this. There's something here called view. So let's say I am the Australia country managers. I'm only interested with Australia. So I save this as Australia. This is just a labeling and make my default view. Right. So if I open a new, I get this URL, I open the new tabs. This should auto filter to Australia. Of course, I can select others again, but this like giving our users lesser clicks. Let's say I maintain like 5 reps. I want to see only my reps, like team A or team B, another 5 reps. So we can do like this one. So our users have easier to see the data. Right. Any more questions? I think we are like, how long is it? 1 hour? This code used to load
any other
data CSV.
questions? Last chance.
Yes, we can load data from CSV file. Just very quick. How to load data from CSV file? I go to the home page, create dataset, CSV file. You can set CSV file. And one more thing here, the data managers. Okay, sorry. I can go to the connect here. Let me just show you. So this Salesforce org, I link to another 2 Salesforce org. So I can pull data from multiple Salesforce org from sync. Can Einstein Analytics interact with custom auto components? I don't know. But we can put Salesforce, Einstein Analytics dashboard in account page or in opportunity or in whatever lightning page. And the data is filtered based on that page. We can do that. But I do not know whether we can use custom auto component. I am not playing for this component for some time. Sorry to say. So yeah, that's all for today. Can widget can use anywhere in Salesforce Lightning app? Yes. Not widget. Just to be clear, dashboard. Not the specific widget, but the dashboard. You can pull the whole dashboard. A dashboard can mean one widget. Okay, I think that's all, Zoe.
All right. Thank you again, Johan. I know you took some of your time for us, and really appreciate this opportunity and that you've given us to listen to you and to share your knowledge about Einstein Analytics.
Yeah. So there's
So
a few more things here. Two more
yes.
things here I will put in the chat here for you to start to learn. There's a YouTube video, Trailhead Batch. You can start from learn and then developer org. Okay.
There's a question about the slide. If it's okay to share the slide.
Yes, sure. I will share to you and then you can put in the success community.
Sure, that's good. So a few more announcements before we go to the last part where we're raffling off the voucher from Johan from Singapore Payment. So first things first, what you've just attended right today is from the Manila PH Administration Group. So just be aware that we have 6 groups here that you can join so that you can then be notified of the different updates whenever we have one. And then I'll send over the link. And then for the upcoming meetups, we have one for Marketing Cloud. It's about Automation Studio that's happening on Saturday, April 25, 3 p.m. And then we also have another one happening on May 28. So just make sure to click on these and then be notified. There's going to be a button that you can click in order for you to join the group. That way you'll be notified whenever there's a new event. And then last part is we have this raffle from Johan. So some ground rules though. So the winner must be present in Zoom. So just make sure that your names are correct here. We'll be using the participant list as the basis for that. And we have one certification voucher to give out. And then user groups aren't eligible. User group leaders are not eligible. And then even those that have already won vouchers before, so that we can give chance to others. All right. So we prepared this. So we've already put the names of all of those that joined via the RSVP. What's this? Christian. Is Christian here? Go to the chat. Are you there?
Who's Christian? Christian Valeras?
Hey, yep, that's you. All right, there you go. I'll need to get your email. So congratulations. So you've won the voucher from Johan. So
It's
just send over
Salesforce,
your email.
Salesforce certification vouchers. So you can go for any certifications.
Is
Wow,
that
thank you.
$200 or $400, Johan?
I think it's $200.
All right, cool. So that's about it then. So we're having more. So I'm not sure. It depends on Salesforce how many vouchers they will give away, but probably expect more during these two events. So we'll keep in touch regarding the virtual event for next month. Most likely, at least for May, we're expecting this to be a virtual event since we're all locked down, right? I don't think it's still safe for us to do a in-person event next month, but we'll definitely keep you posted. All right. Anything else to share? Any questions in the chat? No? So that's it then. Thank you again, Johan. Really appreciate you you speaking here, and hopefully we can have you here in person too next time though, once we have the we're done with the virus, right?
Yep.
So
Cool.
thanks again then. So thank you for your time and have a good day then.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.